Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where the discussion very much continues when it comes to the current situation at Barca right now. And today, once again, the spotlight is going to be on Xavi Hernandez, with particular emphasis today on how the players are feeling. What is the feeling from inside of the club, along with the big problem that we have in the pivot position and how exactly we can attempt to fix that, even if only temporarily, in the current season. What exactly can we change right now? It is all coming up today. Lots of honesty again. So let's do it. And I do want to start here today, guys, with just a few of these reports that have now emerged this week off the back, of course, of that terrible Clasico result. And a lot of these regarding Xavi and the feeling right now from inside of the club. And the key people, of course, that are going to have to contribute in turning this situation around. And I'm talking, obviously, about the players. Those are the key. As we discussed yesterday, as Pep Guardiola even called them out, they need to do more. But how are they feeling? And how are they reacting right now to Xavi as the leader, as the coach of this club? Because I thought yesterday it was quite interesting to hear from ESPN, who can often be a reliable source there, getting information from inside of Barca, and they say right now that a certain section of Barcelona players, not everybody, but there are a certain number of them that feel very frustrated that Xavi hasn't been as tough on some players as he has been with others, saying there that basically some players are unhappy that there may be an element of favouritism inside of the dressing room, and maybe not every player is being treated equally. And I'm just wondering immediately, guys, what do you make of that report there? Do you buy into that? Can you see in a way how that could be true? Could you see players at Barca feeling in that exact way? And I would actually say here, I could. In all honesty, I really could, because I think this is actually something that we've had growing concerns with now for quite a while. We have seen over Xavi's time at the club certain favouritism towards some players, with others then maybe that he's more publicly critical of or tough on, and it's interesting to see the kind of balance that has been created at the club, because I think honestly, guys, as soon as you have that separation, as soon as you do start to develop a few favourites, you've got a big problem. And that is something there that can destroy a dressing room, because if you start to have groups in your dressing room, that's when things aren't united anymore. That's when the collective effort as a group really starts to suffer. And I actually think that is something there to really pinpoint as to what has really changed since Xavi first arrived. Because don't forget, guys, when Xavi first came to Barca, you remember everything he said. He said there will be no favourites here. Everybody starts from scratch. That is what he repeated over and over again, basically saying there's no hiding places, there's no history here, everybody must earn their place in the team. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how old you are, you have got to show me why you deserve to be there. And I don't feel that anymore. You know, do you guys agree on that? I don't feel as though in this current Barca team that everybody that plays is there on merit, that everybody there is battling and working so hard to earn their place, because it feels as though everything is quite predetermined. It feels as though Xavi's mind usually is already pretty much made up, regardless there if somebody from outside of the lineup produces a good display, a promising performance, they're not usually rewarded. And in the same vein there, players that play week in, week out, who maybe aren't performing and haven't been performing throughout the season, they're not really punished. It kind of goes unnoticed. And I think right now, Xavi, he needs to shake things up. For the sake of the team right now, he needs to bring everybody back down to earth. He needs to treat everybody the same and focus the team, not only for Barca's sake, but his own sake too, and his own future at this club. And I think it is also very interesting, guys, that we did hear yesterday that there was a long meeting before training even took place yesterday between Xavi and between the players. And apparently there in that long meeting, lots of different things were aired and discussed between both sides. You know, both parties had their say on the current problems, how we can work through them. I think that's really important right now. I think we have to have, every single one of us, even here on the channel, we've got to have honesty. we have to put forward our problems, we have to highlight them here with honesty, and openly be direct about what is going wrong at the club. And although I would say, these clear the air meetings, they often have good success, getting things out in the open, talking things out. It really can help. But I would also say right now, I don't even think this is the first one of those meetings that we've had this season, and that is a sign of what has been going wrong and what continues to go wrong. What we need now more than anything else is some action, is some change. So how exactly can we go about changing the situation and doing something that's different? Because, okay, let's talk about one of the big problems right now at Barca. Let's talk about the pivot position, which we're all very much aware that is one of Xavi's biggest issues in this team, and something that affects the style of football that he wants to play, the performances that he would like to get out of this team. The pivot area is a real concern. It's one of the biggest changes from last season, of course, after we lost Sergio Busquets. Now, we're all very much aware that was going to hurt us. We've known that for a long time. We've always known that it was going to be pretty much impossible to replace Busi, and that has turned out to be the case. We have really suffered this season, make no mistake about it. Now, obviously, in the summer, we went after some high-quality replacements there, the likes of Zubimendi. Kimmich as well was mentioned, but in the end, they turned out to be well beyond our reach financially, of course, and we went for Oriol Romeo, who was a low-cost gamble at the time we were hoping would come in and just sort of plug that gap. It hasn't worked out. It's a gamble that hasn't really paid off for anybody. He's not convinced in that role, and quite clearly right now, and understandably so, Xavi does not trust him at all to be the pivot in this team, especially over a run of games. But what I would also say right now, guys, is Frenkie de Jong, Ilkay Gundogan, they're not pivots either, and I don't think we should be sort of lulled into that false sense of security. As a lone pivot, neither of them fit the bill, and I think if you actually play them there in that role, you limit their games significantly. They can both give so much more than that, and especially in offensive positions, so I don't think either of those there are the solution. And I also don't think in January we should be going out there and targeting another low-cost gamble. It's not going to pay off. We shouldn't be going out and wasting effectively more money, and I don't even think we could do that right now. Even a low-cost player in January looks unlikely to bring in. So at this point, guys, what I'm going to say right now is, with everything that we have considered, with the way our performances have been this season, my big question today is, why not try something different? Why not look at what we do have and say, okay, what can we do that's new and that might refresh this Barca team right now? And especially as well, given the timing, we've got a Copa del Rey game on Thursday against another lower league opponent. Surely that's a great time to try and look to change, to try a few things out maybe in a game like that. That's something else that we haven't seen enough of there. Experimentation and being brave in your selection. And so could this be the perfect time, because in the aftermath of El Clasico, we have heard in the media this week that both Xavi and Deco, they believe that Andreas Christensen could play as a pivot in this Barca team, simply because he is considered one of our best passers, and especially as well under pressure. We've seen him playing out there from the back with exceptional quality. He's a very, very intelligent player. He's strong, of course. We know that he's good at a tackle as a defender, but crucially, he also has previous experience playing as a pivot. So my question right now, guys, would be, given that we've actually heard this many times about Christensen, when are we actually going to see it tried out? Because we have heard this so many times, and right now, we're not blessed with options. We don't have so much quality in that area, and quite clearly, whatever we're doing, it ain't working. So why would you not throw a bit of caution to the wind, be brave, and say, look, let's try something new? Because even if it wasn't to work out, even if maybe Christensen didn't fit that role, at least we could say, you know what? We're trying things. We're trying to change the situation. We're not just doing the same thing over and over and over again, because then we can't expect anything to change. In order to fix this situation, in order to get ourselves basically to the summer, get us through the rest of this season, let's try something new, and maybe you can change then the end result. And look, guys, I would even say the same too about somebody like Marc Casado in this team too. We've seen him this season in and around the first team. We've We've heard that Xavi is said to be an admirer of his game. He's trained plenty of times with the group at senior level, and the beauty of somebody like Casado would be, he is a natural pivot. You know, that position is his bread and butter. He's somebody who's grown up playing at Barça, with many years of experience in and around this club about what's expected from that very specific role in the team, because don't forget, it's a tough role to play. It's a very, very difficult position. So again, why would you not at least give it a try when everything else doesn't seem to have worked this season, when that midfield and when the pivot is coming under extreme scrutiny and we don't really have the option to do anything drastic at this stage? Let's look from within, and that's what I've been saying over these past few days about getting the best out of what we have. Looking at the options, looking at the different strategies and different things that we can do. Let's right now try and innovate, because that's what the absolute best coaches will do. They will find a way to make things work. They will try and look outside of the box, be a little bit ambitious, be brave in their selection, and that's what Xavi has to do now, I feel. We can't just sit around talking about what we haven't got, what we're lacking in this team, the problems that we have to find a way to fix them. Because at Barça, we shouldn't wait for anything. We shouldn't be waiting around and coasting through the season. Something has to change. Something has to give. And that means doing new things. And I am very, very interested, guys, off the back of today's video here. What do you make there of these potential changes to the team? You know, looking at that pivot position, what would be your solution? Even if it's only a temporary one until the end of the season, what would you like to see us try there? And right throughout the team, are there other things that you would look to change? Are there other little adjustments that maybe could change the trajectory of our form right now? Please do let me know everything in the comments down below, all the suggestions that you may have for Xavi and for Barça. And of course I'll see you soon, because there will be more discussion, more conversation on the way. And let's just wait and see if any of these changes are implemented even a little bit on Thursday in the Copa del Rey. I will catch you guys soon. Thank you indeed for your incredible support and for all of you getting involved in the comments. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça.